What's up, Shadowverse soldiers? Before we get into it, I wanted to talk about a new tournament that I'm hosting, the Olivia's Webcam Tournament. It's a $20 entry fee, and it's a best of 3 Swiss rounds. First place gets a Dark Angel Olivia, while second place gets 45, third place gets 20, and fourth gets 15. We'll be doing it on November 4th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll put a link in the description below, and I will hope to see you guys there. What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers? We are back with another video. Today we have
Tyshawn Chaplin.
Okay, and he got third place. What were we playing today, Tyshawn?
We were playing Swordcraft.
Swordcraft. We got mid-range Swordcraft. Okay. So what made you want to play Swordcraft?
So my wife actually said I should pick this deck for the day, so of course I went with her word. We did place pretty well, but I actually think Swordcraft is pretty well fit into the meta to be second best contender right behind Dragoncraft. Your Dragoncraft matchup isn't too hard. With Discard Dragon, you have to play a little more carefully. But if your opponent is getting too aggressive, you always are able to keep up the pace, put on the pressure, and you have no problem pacing out any opponent. So Dragoncraft isn't too hard, but you know they got me today. So.
Yeah, those dirty Dragoners. All right, So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, what you got?
All right, so we'll start first with Bellringer. Obviously, it's a 1-cost with Ward. I don't actually play the Evolve version in this. This is just to help generate advantage and to be able to ward off small attacks from things like Abysscraft coming at you with like Ambling Wraith or Skeleton Fighter. It just helps you build that board and force them to suspend their units so you can actually answer them on the following turn while still getting advantage in return. Next card, the must-have is definitely 3 Made Leader. This just helps you search out anything when you evolve into it. You can search out anything with an evolve in its text. So to be able to grab things like Leonidas, to grab Floral Fencer if you have a melee in hand, it's your combo starter. And like it's the bread and butter of a lot of bigger combos that I get to do in game. The next one, I wasn't sure about this, but I ended up liking this. 3 Swordsmen. So on Fanfare, you're allowed to suspend any unit on their board, or if he's still on board, you can suspend him and suspend something in return. So, say for instance, if you have your actual Leonidas Resolve on field, this is answering virtually anything. So, like if they try to put in big units that they don't want you to hit, or that they just played, such as a Bahamut or something along those lines, usually you can get out the Swordsman, suspend it, and then answer it, and then they already know on your following turn they still have to deal with like Novus Troopers or anything coming out with Rush, and putting on an insane amount of damage. So he's a good tech. And then 2 Quick Blader. I used to play him at 3, and sometimes I still want to go back up to 3. Just the fact that on turn 1 you could even drop him, do some damage. He's a good threat in hand, knowing that he's able to evolve to get to 3, or that he's able to just poke for a small amount of damage. Some opponents don't want to deal with that, or some opponents try to play around this and set up warded units that I then answer with other cards. So he's just a good threat overall. But that is it for 1 cost. We are only actually playing 3 2 costs in the deck. So that is our boy Latham. So Latham is just a huge unit. Just to be able to come in at 2 cost and be 3/3, he is just well worth playing him at 3 in your deck. With Leonidas Resolve, he's a 5/5. And then to play him off of Amelia as another 3/3 unit is just insane. He's just low investment, high reward. Nothing much to say there for him.
Yeah, a little vanilla card with 3/3.
All right, so then we get into the 3s. So a lot of contention on this card, and a lot of people don't like it, but I ended up loving this card.
Incoming hot take, guys.
White Paladin. This card, let me tell you. So the ability to come down and have Ward as a 3/4 and be 3 cost is nothing to sniff at. I think most decks in the game would give like almost anything to just have a 3/4 that only costs 3. That's a blocker. But what makes her more insane is that you can tap her on summon. So say if it's on curve, you don't really have a good play, you don't want to go into like Amelia or anything along those lines, or Aurelia, you can play her, and on curve for 5, you can tap her, pay 2, and then summon out 2 shield Guardians.
Okay.
What's insane is that if you have Leonidas Resolve, so say your Leonidas gets answered, obviously you drop the Resolve. I've gone for turn, played this, tapped it down, and then she becomes a 6/7, and the tokens are all 4/4, and every single one of them has ward. All for the cost of 5, and it's insane. And then sometimes you can even drop Amelia, drop her, and then if you have enough play points, just tap her for 2, which would only require you to be on a 6 turn, and then you drop out 2 Guardians, you have a warded unit, and then you have another unit standing with 3/3. Insane.
Crazy spice. Look like
Would
that.
not take her out. I actually have been loving her lately. Let's talk about the other bread and butter cards. If you play Swordcraft, you already know what this does. This is your searcher throughout your entire deck. This is grabbing you Leonidas. This is grabbing you anything that you need. Often I'm using it to grab Amelia so that I can put pressure on board by having 2 bodies and summoning out. So obviously she doesn't drop from 3. She's perfect. 3 Floral Fencer. This is still your pressure play. Unfortunately, this card screwed me in my final round. I decided with a Bell Ringer on board that I needed to go into another one of these to answer the Dragoncraft player's board, and locked myself out of zones. But oftentimes in aggressive matchups, she's always giving you advantage. Like my tokens were swinging for 6 damage throughout each turn. So I wouldn't cut her. I just need to play more carefully if you're in a matchup where your opponent is smart enough not to let you lock your zones out. Finally, only 2 Novus Trooper. I wanted to make room for the first card that I showed you for a 3 cost, but so I decided to cut one of her. You really only need 2. If you need to search her, you search her. If you draw her, that's fantastic. Usually she's just there to out erroneous units and to put on for damage, and if you have Resolve on board, she's swinging for 6. So you could possibly bump her up, like consider taking out one of the Lathams, but I think she's fine at 2. I wasn't hurting for her at all today. Usually I saw at least 1, and when it was there, it got rid of what it needed to, or did the damage that it needed to, so nothing to worry. That'll end it for 3 costs. Those are the bulk of your deck and do most of what your deck wants to do. Now we get into the spice for 4 costs.
Okay.
We're playing Erd.
Erd.
So at 2, we're playing Erd in Swordcraft, which seems kind of awkward. She's a card that a lot of Dragoncraft players like to tech. But the ability to pay 5 to get rid of something entirely, or to even just play her for 4 and push back a unit that they then now have to commit the play points to next turn in order to summon back, is good. I force my opponents into a lot of awkward positions. Sometimes I'm even able to kill them because I just push a warded unit back with her. So I've really been liking her. I only have to play one of the Evolved because if you're using her correctly, you have enough stuff on board where they really have to contemplate bringing out the stuff that you push back with her. So I think she's been great. She was good all day. And she won me one of the games by pushing back a blocker. So
Look at that.
we only play one of her. I honestly think, for the most part, that she's cuttable. But being a 4 cost and being able to evolve and search basically 2 cards, it's too good to pass up. So I play her at 1. But honestly, you could cut her and play another Novus Trooper. I don't think you'd be hurting in the least if you didn't have this, and then it would give your evolved deck more room. But I think she's good at 1. Didn't see her all tournament, so I don't really have a huge opinion on her. If I were to cut her for anything, though, for something that did show out this tournament, was definitely Amelia. Amelia is fantastic. Most people forget she has 2 effects, but if you don't know what the effects are, the first one is that she can summon out a 3 or lower Swordcraft unit from your hand on summon. So if you pair her with like Gemstaff Commander, she's coming out, dropping Gemstaff Commander, and Gemstaff Commander is searching you another piece. So often on turns like where I'm on 4, or if I'm going second and I'm on my 4 turn, I search the Leonidas off the gem staff or get something like if I have in hand one of the maids, I can drop the maid and still search Leonidas on evolve because she doesn't need to evolve. Her other effect is that she can just deal 4 damage to any unit. She is crazy for being a 4. She's a 3/3, so she's not bad stat-wise. I would not cut her. I would even bump her up. She was fantastic all day.
Okay.
The only other 2 4s are obviously Albert. I killed 2 of my opponents today with Albert.
As he should.
He has Storm. He may evolve for 3, but the fact that he can swing twice if you evolve him puts anyone in death range. If they're at like 6, he's almost an auto kill, and if you have Resolve on board, he is doing literally 12.
Jeez.
Huge. Wouldn't cut him. Obviously, he's fantastic. I got 2 kills off of him, which was good enough for me. For 5s,
okay,
we'll start off with another tech I was trying and really liked today. Is Dark Angel Olivia. So I know for the most part that people already know how good Olivia is, but the reason I decided to play her in the deck is that you can get the Evo point. Even if you went first in the game, being able to drop this on curve for your 5 turn and grabbing the Evo point allows you to go into Leonidas turn 6.
Yes, sir.
So, whereas your opponent may have played earlier around the fact that, okay, well, he can't get into Leonidas until turn 7. Now, once I play this and they see me put the Evo point, it either clicks that now Leonidas is coming and they have to pivot their plan, or they just don't know, and then they now have to deal with the Leonidas popping something like somebody put one of their units out that they didn't need to, and it just gave me value with Leonidas because they already had 1 suspended unit. They played another unit out that turn. They couldn't swing. They didn't know that I was going to use the evolve point for Leonidas, or they just assumed I didn't have it. Played the Leonidas, popped their standing unit, and then swung into the next one and got Leonidas. Well, Leonidas still survived the swing, but in an ideal scenario, I already had Resolve, and now I have a 7 attack unit that they have to deal with. So she's been fantastic. Sometimes she can draw you a card, sometimes she gives you life. She's just a good card in this deck in general, since you're playing mid-range. This card, absolutely amazing.
Oh, really?
Love this card. Aurelia is absolutely disgusting. Against decks like Abyss, the fact that they played something out, I could swing over their standing unit and then just use my other units to kill their board, and now they have to deal with a blocker if they had 3 on field that's now a 6/8. Huge. Unbelievable. And she still has Rush, Assail, and Ward even if you don't get the additional bonuses. Well, she still gets the Rush, Assail, and Ward even if they don't have 3 on field. So at no point has she ever been like bad. And then this meta where they build up so much, the fact that something can just come out, take out a unit, and then just have a fat booty, like it's unbelievable. She did work all day. Love her. And then we get into our bread and butter 6s. I really wanted to be able to play Tachibana, but instead I just went for 2 Alexander. This card is Abysscraft and Forestcraft's Worst Nightmare.
Jeez.
In Forestcraft matchup, you just clear their entire board and he still has like 7 defense. Or you clear their entire board and now they just have nothing. I will give him up in an instant to clear somebody's board. He's disgusting. I'll revise the deck list, but he's another card that you could possibly bump up to 3. But the only mandatory 3 of, and the namesake of the deck is goddamn Leonidas.
This is Sparta.
This card strikes fear into people's hearts. He will summon this, so if you don't know anything about the deck, he will summon out your namesake, Leonidas Resolve. Plus 3/3 to all units that come into game that are Swordcraft. If you have Floral Fencer, everything is buffed. If you play the card I mentioned earlier that has Ward, it summons out 2 warded units. You have 3 units that all come in with plus 3/3. This card makes you almost indestructible. So at that point, if you get this on field, your opponent now has to be either burning you to death because it's unlikely that they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why you play the deck. You need to play it at 3, just because if you don't see it, you're playing a more awkward game. I was still able to win, so I will admit to you all that I didn't use this at all until the final game. And at that point, because I locked myself out of zones, he set up on me. It was too late. But had he not been able to kill me that turn, it would have been auto death because of this. Because I had 2 Novus Troopers in my hand, and it would have automatically been 12 damage total. So, fantastic card. If you get it out, you basically won the game. Nothing else to say about that. We can get into the Evolve deck now.
Alrighty.
So, obviously, for the deck, we play 1 Quick Blader. I often play this just because if I get my 1/1 Quick Blader out, I either just need to do more damage, especially if I have Resolve on field. Then he becomes obviously a 6/6. So he's good. I've used him randomly to be able to answer something. Usually if I have a bigger board established, they don't want to go for this. They want to go for the bigger things on field because this is only doing 1. And usually I can clear it out if I have the Quick Blader Evo, so I do play him. Obviously, 2 of our beautiful little maid. If you can have 2 maids in the house, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, right.
So, she obviously you need her for searches. Since your Evolve deck is a little bit flexible, I like to keep her at 2. But if I cut something else, you could possibly put her to 3. I don't think you need any more than 2 though. Once you've searched twice, you should be at endgame. You don't need it more than that. Next one is 2 of Floral Fencer. She's been good since day 1. No need to question why. You could possibly cut her down, but you don't need to. Like, I wouldn't cut one of these for like a bell ringer or something. Next one is this. If you cut the 4 cost, you can cut this card and possibly make room for bell ringer or something else. This just gets rid of shit. This bounces stuff out of their EX area. Sometimes if you're playing Dragoncraft, you can even push out the cards that they use their amulet to create. So, for instance, one of the dragons, the 4/3s with Rush, you can push that out and then push something back that's like less threatening and let that sit in their EX area. And then finally, you have 1 Albert. I've never been able to summon more than 1. You don't usually need more than 1. I think I've maybe had 1 game in my entire career that playing this deck that I even thought that I might need another one, and I still was able to close it out with just 1. And then finally, 2 Leonidas. If you're in the Havencraft matchup, they will always try to banish this. So you need at least 2. I wouldn't say you have to go hard in the paint for 3. Because if you're able to summon 3 Leonidas, I don't know what grind game you're in, but you probably are not winning.
Okay.
But for this, you just don't want this to get banished and have no access to it the next game. Leonidas is such a threat, so people will always assume anyway that you're playing at least 2. So this is the deck. I think it's performed really well. Your Dragoncraft matchup is sometimes a little difficult just because you need to pressure them early game and then make sure that you're presenting enough board presence or things on board that kind of interrupt their plans to where they can't finish you out. They have to resort to the amulet, try to discard for resources to try and pop your stuff and just get everything out of their hand, and once they're gassed, that's it. They have nothing left against you. Abysscraft, you just have to outpace them. Even in mid-range build, this goes pretty fast. You never really have to worry about it. I lost to 1 Abysscraft player today, but I think it was more because I whiffed the search with Gemstaff Commander off of Amelia because I was getting a little excited. And then the Forestcraft matchup isn't too hard. There's nothing you really have to worry about. And then Runecraft, unfortunately, they just take the ass whooping early on. That's it. If they don't see D shift early enough, that's the game is over. Yeah. I'm sorry. There's no game they have against you. They're popping your stuff, but you just keep accumulating resources and keep forcing them to try and answer it. And that's it. That's all I have to say for the deck. The deck has been functioning pretty well. I've been testing it for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Was doing theory with it before then, and it's been doing fantastic.
Alrighty, well, thank you for giving us your deck list. Any shout outs you wanted to give?
Shout outs to Roosevelt, who cheated me for first because he let me fill up my field and I wasn't paying attention. I thought he was going to try and answer my stuff out of like fear, and instead he let me just sit there and rot. So shout out to him, but he's the homie. Obviously, I didn't think anyone else in this tournament was really going to give me as much problems as Roosevelt, and of course he did. So,
hey, that's what happens.
And then give a shout out to my Discord for people that are trying to play Shadowverse. Please join the Shadowverse Discord. Obviously, he's going to have links inside of the description for a different server for different tournaments. I definitely want to start streaming and doing all this stuff so I can get in and meet you people and play. And it's been really fun doing this deck profile.
Yes,
thanks, man.
Thank you for being on. All right, guys, I will see you guys in the next one, and make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight and what you do for the rest of the year. I love you guys. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.